I used to cry in the salon chair when the cape came off. Actually cry, right there in front of the mirror, because the woman looking back at me looked tired in a way that had nothing to do with sleep. It took me years to understand it wasn't my face doing that. It was my haircut. Some cuts genuinely soften a mature face, lift it, bring the light back to it. Others do the opposite. They drag everything down without you ever realizing that's what's happening in the mirror every single morning. Today I'm walking you through 3 cuts that take years off a woman over 60, and 3 that quietly add them. I researched the worst style and beauty mistakes and the best fixes for women over 50, so you get real results fast. If you haven't already, hit subscribe. I cover this every week. Part 1: the soft layered lob, younger, and the blunt severe bob, aging. Here's something most women never hear from their stylist. The sharper and more precise a haircut is, the harder it can be on a face that's lost some of its natural collagen. It sounds backwards. We're taught precision equals polish. But a blunt line reads as a hard edge sitting right next to soft, changing skin. And the contrast is what ages you, not the skin itself. Let's start with the one that takes years off first. The soft layered lob. A lob that hits somewhere between the chin and the collarbone, with layers cut in around the face rather than blunt all the way through. If you've been wearing your hair one length for the last decade, this is going to feel like a revelation. Why it works is simple once you see it. Layers cut in around the jaw and cheekbone catch the light and move when you talk, when you laugh, when you turn your head. That movement draws the eye up and across your face instead of straight down. A one-length cut does the opposite. It hangs like a curtain, and gravity does the rest, pulling visual weight toward your jawline and chin. The lob breaks that vertical pull with horizontal softness, right where you need it most. Here's exactly how to ask for it. Tell your stylist you want a lob that hits mid-neck to collarbone, with face-framing layers starting at the cheekbone. Not the chin, the cheekbone. That's the detail most women leave out, and it makes all the difference. Ask for the ends to be point cut, not blunt cut, so they feather rather than sit in a hard line. If you have any wave or texture, ask for slightly longer layers so the movement doesn't get lost. What changes is almost immediate. Women tell me people start commenting on their skin, not their hair. That's the tell this cut is working, because it's doing exactly what it's supposed to, drawing attention toward a softened jawline instead of away from it. You stop looking like you're hiding under your hair, and start looking like your hair is working for you. Now let's talk about the one doing damage while feeling stylish. The blunt severe bob, chin length, cut in one hard straight line, no layers, no softness anywhere in it. It photographs beautifully on younger, tighter skin. On a face over 60, it can turn against you fast. The reason is the same principle in reverse. That hard horizontal line sits directly at jaw level. And instead of lifting the eye, it boxes the face in. There's nowhere for the light to move, no movement to distract from static skin. And the eye reads the whole shape as heavier and more rigid than it actually is. It's not that the cut looks bad in isolation. It's that it removes every tool your hair has to soften your features. So here's the swap. Trade the blunt severe bob for the soft layered lob. Same general length family, completely different effect. Same commitment level, same amount of maintenance, but one drags your face down, and the other lifts it right back up. Next, I want to show you the cut most women assume is too young for them, and why that assumption might be costing you more than you think. Part 2: the face framing shag, younger. Stylists have a term for the cut I'm about to describe, and they rarely say it out loud to clients because it sounds insulting when it isn't. They call certain cuts on older clients safe, meaning nothing will go wrong, but nothing will go right either. The face framing shag is the opposite of safe, and that's exactly why it works. You've probably scrolled past this cut 100 times thinking it belongs to someone 20 years younger. I want you to look again, because the version that works on a mature face isn't the choppy, disheveled shag you're picturing from a magazine spread. It's a more controlled cousin of it. Longer layers, soft face framing pieces starting around the cheekbone, movement built through the mid-lengths and ends rather than at the root. What makes this cut so effective past 60 comes down to something simple. Thinning hair and volume loss tend to happen most at the crown and through the mid-lengths. And the shag's layering is built specifically to create the illusion of density exactly there. It's not adding hair you don't have. It's arranging the hair you do have so it reads as fuller. and fuller reads as younger before a single other feature registers. Here's how to actually get this cut without walking out looking like you tried too hard. Ask your stylist for a long layered shag with face framing pieces cut to cheekbone length, and be specific that you want the layers built through the crown for volume, not just at the ends. Request texturizing shears through the mid-lengths rather than a razor all over. A razor everywhere can leave thin hair looking wispy instead of textured. And ask for the fringe, if you get one, to be curtain style and swept rather than blunt across the forehead. The result catches people off guard in the best way. This is the cut where women tell me their adult children stopped them mid-sentence to ask what they did differently, because the change reads as an overall shift rather than new haircut. It looks like more hair, more shape, more energy, even though the length might be nearly the same as before. The swap to hold on to is this: from flat, one-length hair with no layering anywhere near the crown, to a long shag with cheekbone-length face framing pieces, and volume built specifically at the root. Same overall length. Completely different read. Now the next cut on my list is the one I get asked about more than any other, and the answer surprises almost everyone who asks. Part 3. The curtain bangs pixie crop, younger, and the over-teased helmet set, aging. Most women think going shorter after 60 means giving something up. I want to challenge that because the data on this one genuinely surprised me. A well-cut short style is consistently rated as more youthful in perception studies than long hair on women over 60, and it's not close. Long hair on a mature face can actually pull features down the same way a blunt bob does, just with more length doing the pulling. The cut that does this best is a pixie crop with soft curtain bangs, short at the sides and back, slightly longer through the crown, with a soft fringe that parts and sweeps rather than sitting flat across the forehead. The reason this works so well ties back to bone structure. Once you get past 60, cheekbones and jawlines often become more visible, not less. And a pixie with height at the crown and softness at the fringe actually shows off that structure instead of burying it under length. The curtain bangs do the real work here, breaking up the forehead and softening the transition into the eyes without a hard blunt line anywhere near them. To get this right, ask for a pixie with length left through the top and crown, at least 2 to 3 inches, so you have styling versatility, not a buzzed, severe crop. Ask specifically for curtain bangs that part naturally at the center or slightly off-center, cut longer at the outer corners than the center point. Tell your stylist you want the neckline tapered, not shaved, so it stays soft rather than looking severe from behind. Women who make this switch often say the same thing to me. Strangers start guessing their age a decade younger without being asked, because a well-placed pixie signals confidence and intention in a way length alone rarely does. It stops reading as practical and starts reading as chosen. Now for the cut working against you without you realizing it: the over-teased helmet set. Heavy volume at the crown, sprayed into a stiff, rounded shape that doesn't move no matter how you turn your head. It was the style for decades, and for a lot of women it still feels like the done look, the one that reads as put together. Here's the problem nobody mentions. Hair that doesn't move reads as artificial before anything else registers, and artificial reads as older, not more polished, because natural movement is one of the strongest visual cues of youth we respond to, more than most people realize. A helmet set removes movement entirely, and with it goes the cue. The swap here is the pixie crop with curtain bangs I just walked you through. Same short commitment, same low daily maintenance, but one moves and breathes and the other sits frozen in place. I've saved the biggest surprise for last, because the final swap on this list is the one that gets the most pushback in the comments every time I mention it. Part 4. The wispy side-swept pixie, aging. Here's the pushback I get every single time. A pixie is supposed to be the youthful shortcut, so how can a version of it be the one aging you? The answer is in the word wispy, and it's the detail that separates a cut that lifts your face from one that quietly deflates it. A wispy, side-swept pixie, thin feathered ends with low volume at the crown, swept flat to one side, is different in almost every way from the curtain bangs pixie I described a moment ago, even though they get lumped together as short hair. Where that one built height and structure at the crown, this one flattens it. And flat at the crown is where the real damage happens. Here's why this specific version backfires. Once you lose volume at the crown, and most women do to some degree after 60, a flat, swept-over style has nothing to counteract it, so the scalp becomes more visible and the whole head reads as smaller and more delicate than it should. It's the opposite problem from the helmet set. That one froze movement in place. This one removes structure entirely, and structure is what was doing the heavy lifting. The fix isn't abandoning short hair, it's building the one detail this cut skips. Ask your stylist for the same short length, but with root lifting layers cut specifically at the crown, and request a texturizing product applied at the root, not just the ends, when you style it at home. If you're set on some length swept to the side, ask for it swept off a deeper, more angled part rather than straight across, because the angle itself creates the illusion of lift the flat sweep was missing. Women who make this one adjustment tell me the compliment that comes back most often is that their whole face looks more awake, and that's the real tell. A lifted crown opens the eye area from below in a way a flat crown simply can't, no matter how good the rest of the cut is. So here's the final swap to remember. From a flat, wispy, side-swept pixie with no crown volume, to that same short length rebuilt with root lifting layers and a deeper angled part. Same boldness, same short commitment, but one drains your face of energy and the other hands it right back. You now have the full picture. 3 cuts that quietly work against you, and 3 that were doing the opposite this whole time. You now know exactly which 3 cuts lift a mature face and which 3 quietly work against it. The layered lob, the face framing shag, and the curtain bangs pixie versus the blunt bob, the helmet set, and the flat wispy pixie. That's not guesswork anymore. That's a plan you can hand your stylist word for word. Tell me in the comments, which one of these 6 have you actually had, and did it match what I described here? Next week I'm breaking down the exact hair colors doing the same thing, quietly aging some women while lifting others. Like this video, subscribe to Timeless Beauty, and I'll see you in the next one.